Yeah, I'll take it. Honestly, I mean, we're at home. We wanted to win. You know, a tie for us doesn't. It's just we shoot for a win. Um, it's really disappointing to lose a game like that at the literally the last minute. Um, we have to accept our mistakes. We maybe lost track of the little details. Although when you're there, like we look at each other and we are saying like, let's focus. This is us. You know, it's not that we don't pay attention to details, but this is just something that we need to learn from and be humble enough without, you know, once the game is over, you feel like it's the worst thing, and then you go back with a cold mind, and then you watch. It's not as bad or as good as you feel it is right after the game. It just sucks and it hurts. It's just I hate it. I just hate the way that we lost, and that's all it is.
Yes. Hi, thank you very much. You obviously led pretty much in every statistical category: possessions, shots. You had 5 players that had balance on shot attempts. 5 players had at least 2 shots, but you just couldn't get that initial goal that would have more than likely secured the win. So, do you see anything there why that didn't happen?
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about it in the huddle after the game that it would have been a totally different game if we put away our chances earlier. The game became really transitional throughout the entire 90, and I think that it kind of got the best of us. But it's disappointing. I mean, there are so many things that you could pick out and critique. And like when I look at the goal on the set piece, you know, like I'm the one, I played a diagonal ball that led to a transition. I kicked it out for like we could have been in a different spot. And I have to take accountability for the things that I did, you know, that led to the corner. But I just think that coulda, shoulda, woulda. You know, we go back to practice this week. We've been really focused on kind of like breaking the first line and having possession, you know, breaking out of our half. And so I think maybe we'll go back to the drawing board and work more on holding the ball higher up the field.
And the defense, it seemed like it was working. I mean, whatever you were doing, you were definitely stymieing them or, you know, kind of impressing them.
Yeah, and that was our game plan. You know, we know that they've had multiple games in the last week or two, and they're obviously, we're at home, they're away from home, so we did want to, you know, press them and put them under pressure. So that was our game plan. But we didn't get the job done.
Yeah, and the mindset is just somehow put this in the back and just focus going forward, right? Is that the only thing you can do?
Exactly. I mean, it's a really tough way to lose at home in the last minute. In a lot of ways, you know, when we talk about things like this, it's pretty unacceptable. And it's the second time that it's happened to us this year off of a set piece at the end of the game. So I think that we have some work to do as a group.
Anybody else? Oh, yes. Go ahead.
Dave? Hello, David.
This is for both of you. But I think that you guys as a unit, I've described it earlier, like bubbling, and you're ready to pop off. Like when you're serious, it's like Rocky, like you've assimilated yourself into this group like you've been forever. Right? And I feel like you pick rocks. Like you go through, you pick people's pockets, you make things happen. Sarah, I call Geico. She's the insurance. So
Yeah, she
we've
is.
got these 2 players here, and 2 big pieces. And from my perspective, when talking to fans, we're not scoring goals. Right? So how are you guys going to change that? If like game day after game day, it's like we're not getting our forward like clear cut. Like, I remember Sid maybe that's clear cut. What you mean with a volley off a cross? Not really clear cut. Like, how do we fix that? 'Cause you're a wonderful player. Like that you've done it for years. How do we fix that?
I wish soccer was or football was math, but you know, Utah, it wasn't our best game. We won. We didn't have many chances, and we were effective, and that was, you know, our forwards. Today, maybe we played a better game, but didn't come through. I think you know, maybe what the fans see is that my transition was seamless, but actually there was a lot of minutes spent in training, a lot of help from the staff, from my teammates, and I think actually today we finally kind of got down that build up that in other games not necessarily. And so I think there's nothing that work can't achieve. And we wish that we could have like a great start in the season, but sometimes, look at Gotham last year, right? They came from low in the table and then they end up, you know, champions. And so I think that it's something that we need to work on. Different games expose different things, you know. Maybe today, you know, like I said earlier, maybe we need to watch it and with a little bit of a cold-headed, you know, just, you know, take a day or two off, watch it back, and then be a little more objective. And whatever it is that the coaches want to work on, we'll get on board. But like I said, I think there's nothing that union between the players and work cannot achieve. And you know, if Sarah and me look good, it's because the team, we have their support. And some games, it's a team sport, right? Some games, some players look better than others, but at the end of the day, it's Angel City who lost, you know, and it's details. And so we want to win for the fans, for the club, for us, and we will get there.
Do you have the same feeling though, that the pot is boiling and you're about to pop off?
Well, when you lose,
Pop off, please.
when you lose a game like this, it's oh my God, of course, it's. I was telling Sarah I could only laugh, otherwise I'd punch somebody, you know. So, but you know, I think with the years you learn that, yeah. If you feel like you had a great game, you look it back and you're like, oh, it wasn't as great. And if you feel like it was a terrible game, you look it back and it's not that terrible. It's, what is it? Should have, could have, would have. It's true. Like I said, football is not math. We've had worse games and we won. Yeah.
But to your point, I do feel like the chemistry between the center backs and the midfield is really getting there. Like, the ball movement was a lot better.
Yeah.
The second half, it felt like we had a lot of the momentum. So to your point, yes, maybe we are about to pop off.
Oh, that's what it meant to pop off? That's what it meant to pop off? As in, like, it's almost like breaking the ceiling?
like
Okay.
it's lit.
Yes, I do feel that way. Yes, I do feel that way, actually.
Pop off.
I do feel that way.
Hi, Coach. Tough loss today, obviously. I think just a little bit, can you describe both what you saw at the end of that game and, unfortunately, this is it's been a few games at the very end where you all, had these moments. What do you say to your team after moments like that?
Do you want the truth? No, I'm
Yeah,
just kidding.
I sure do.
No, honestly, the moments at the end matter, but I think actually the 96 minutes before that are actually the more relevant part. And did we deserve to win? No. Did we deserve to lose? Probably not. Like, it was just one of those games where we didn't create enough. We weren't dangerous enough in the final third. We had 13 shots apparently. I don't know where they came from. Didn't feel like it. I think we had some good build-up moments, but that's not enough to win games. And ultimately, if you don't, for 96 minutes that we had to create opportunities and make Jane Campbell make saves, then we can't feel sorry for ourselves. So that last minute, yeah, it hurts, and that's football. Sometimes it's cool, but I actually think the 96 minutes before it are a space that we have to get better in, and we didn't deserve to win the game.
Yeah, Becky, you mentioned that you didn't have enough, but you had 13 shots, you don't know where they came from.
Mm-hmm.
10 of them were inside the box, and you also controlled the tempo, you controlled the possession pretty much. What was it that what wasn't really working down the last third?
I think quality and inside the final third. I think deliveries. I think runs. I think committing numbers into the box. It's not even about being ruthless. It's about creating your own opportunities. I don't think we made Houston work hard enough in their defensive third. Again, I said we had some good moments in build-up. We played some good football, but it doesn't matter if you don't do anything with it. And I think, again, like, I looked at the stats. I don't even want to look at them. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, you can have all the stats you want, but, like, you have to create quality moments. It's about quality. Football's about quality. And we didn't have quality in the final third today. I think we had a little bit of a gutsy defensive performance. We talk a lot about our shape behind the ball and not getting hurt in transition, and that includes giving away a corner in the 97th minute. Our shape behind the ball wasn't good enough. We give up a corner, and now we unnecessarily have to defend with the last kick of the game. And again, that's football that punishes you when you don't do the little things right. So.
What are you going to do to fix that final third bit? Because
Hi. For me today, it was all right. And I was impressed with Houston as well. Like they look like they're getting a style together, right? But it just seems that we get into by we I mean you and the team. We get into that final third, and we're not creating like good. Like the only one that I can think of, like Alyssa had one, and she hit it wide, but we got blocked wide, and said like, if you can call that a clear cut chance, like on the volley, like how are you going to deal with that?
Yeah, I think you got to look at it as a bit of a process, right? And that's, again, this game is not forgiving with processes. You can't work on the final third until you nail the build in the middle third, and I think we can start to see our identity in that build piece. I think right now, and so far this season, we've relied on like individual qualities and brilliance and moments in the box, and we actually now, or we should flip that into making what has been the first 2/3 an improvement into the final third. And I think that is the hardest part of the game, right? And ultimately, sometimes you win games with individual brilliance and individual moments. And I think what we have to do now is grow into an identity in the attacking third that you can be predictable if you're really good at being predictable. But I do believe that there is a process behind it, and you can't just like go into training day one and say, let's work on the attacking third if you can't even get the ball there. So we do have to take the positives of the first 2/3 of the field. And again, it is the hardest part, but it's a place that we've got to spend a lot of time on. But once you get into the season, the season is unforgiving and you barely get to train. But yeah, we know that we have work to do there. We know that we have to do it collectively. We can't rely on one person creating or two people creating. And then when that person doesn't have the best game, you don't create chances. So I think that identity is something that we have to continue to work on.
I said to Sarah
And Rocky, like from the outside looking in, it's bubbling. You know, do you feel that as well? Like, because I just feel like this, you're going to shred someone soon. And I feel like the path is going to open. Like, do you get that feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I hope so.
Yeah.
I think that this group, and they're so good with honest and open feedback, and like I don't think anyone will walk away from this pleased. Like ultimately, last week we got 3 points, and I think we played better this week in terms of like controlling the game and being in possession, probably against a Houston side that I thought they were actually decent, and they tried to play a little bit, which was nice. But it is that final third piece, and it is the hardest piece. And I think energy, vibes, like momentum, confidence, like those are all the things that you need to have to be good in the final third. And we have to just leave this performance where it is and move forward. Like these are the ones that hurt the most because you feel like you lost in the cup final. Like you can take 0-0 and you say clean sheet, like we did the defensive work, we just weren't good enough in the attacking third, and you take a point and you move forward. But then when something like this happens, it's like that killer. Your whole mentality changes going into tomorrow. So we have to leave it here and we have to move forward from it. And I think this group is really good at that. I think we have leaders that will, and they've been there and done it, right? We've got players that have played in this league for so long. They know that it's cruel. So we just have to move forward. And I do think it is coming, but you can't live on the edge of hoping that it's coming. We actually have to live up to what we want to be and perform. And it's the details every day. I say it all the time. You can't just play on the weekend and have an average week. Your week leading up to it, you can't miss on details. Because you miss on details in your last minute today, you miss on your detail here. So again, like the group is brilliant. They'll get down into training and they'll work hard. And we know that we go to Spirits, tough road game. They're a good team in good form, but this league doesn't make any sense when it comes to form or anything like that. So we know that any game that we go into, we're going for 3 points.